In one of the most isolated and remote countries on Earth, deep in the heart of Papua New Guinea, lies a race of the most mysterious and feared men, a race known as the Mud People. But before they were called the Mud People, they were known as the Asaru, living just north of the Asaru River. This band of warriors, nowadays considered the most feared tribe in Papua New Guinea, was not always the case. Their tribe was defeated by many tribes and many enemies until there were only but a few of the Asaru left. Surrounded by their enemies and suffering heavy losses, the Asaru were on the brink of total destruction. That's when one of the ancients, a man by the name of Po, had a dream of gray, terrifying beings that came to him and took him in the middle of the night. Having no other weapons, the Asaru decided that fear would be their only weapon against the most numerous of enemies. Early in the morning, they created these huge, gray, disfigured masks and covered themselves in mud, then added with a dye, turned their bodies gray. Then they put long, sharp shoots of bamboo onto their fingers. The Asaru then marched towards their enemy with slow, sinuous movements that looked like galactic creatures from some fictitious planet, terrifying their enemies, who fled in horror. Now let's consider the similarities between the experience of Po and modern-day alien abductions. First, it was gray beings that came and took him in the middle of the night. This seems to happen quite often with alien abductions. Second, they're completely gray with gigantic heads, which is what these men were attempting to do to imitate these beings. So they paint their bodies gray, they cover themselves with mud, and then use a pigment to dye it gray. They could have just kept it the regular mud color, but it was specific, had to be gray. Then they had to have large heads. Well, the modern day equivalent with the gray aliens are gray bodies with large heads and large eyes, these exaggerated features. They also have long fingers, which is why the mudmen put bamboo shoots on their fingers to give them long, skinny, slender, scary looking fingers, which is another similarity with modern day sightings of aliens during UFO abductions, is that they've been said to have long fingers, gray bodies, big heads, big eyes, that came and took him in the middle of the night, terrifying him. They're almost paralyzed with fear seeing them. And the enemies saw these guys creeping through the jungle with these weird slow movements, which terrified them. And with modern day alien abduction accounts, just looking at the eyes of an alien paralyzes people with so much fear that they can't move. They're just kind of stuck there or scared out of their mind. Now let's compare the beliefs of the Papua New Guinean Mud People to the beliefs of their close relatives, the Aboriginals of Australia, who have a belief in a being called Wagina. And Waginas are large-headed beings with large eyes who come and take them in their dream time or while they're sleeping at night. And it's said that the Wagina control the Minmin, which is a ball of light that flies around Australia and is actually still witnessed to this day. And you can see how similar these two beliefs really are. So it makes one wonder, how far back does alien abduction go? To the beginning of mankind? What do you guys think? Let me know. UFO Proof out.